Well, we're going to start a new series of stories today. They're about instructions. Now, we get instructions and rules all the time. Some keep us safe. Sometimes they help us get from one place to another. Sometimes they help us do things. See if you can watch this and make one of these. The instructions we're going to learn about are the Ten Commandments. And so, first we're going to the time when God gave the commandments to Moses and all the people. Remember how God had brought the people out of Egypt where they had been slaves. He was now taking them to a land of their own. God knew that in order for the people to be able to live in the best way possible, they would need a set of instructions. 3 months of traveling had led Moses and over 2 million people deep into the desert. God had kept his promise to Moses and the people. He had freed them from slavery, and they were on their way to the promised land. Remember, God always keeps his word. His words are always true. And so God was going to give Moses his special instructions. They would, of course, be good. And so, this is what happened. Moses went up the mountain to meet with the Lord, who told him to say to the people, "You saw what I did in Egypt, and how you know how I brought you here to me, just as a mighty eagle carries its young. Now, if you'll obey me, you will be my very own people. The whole world is mine, but you will be my holy nation, and serve me." After Moses went back, he reported to the leaders what the Lord had said, and they promised, "We will do everything the Lord has commanded." So Moses told the Lord about this. What a wonderful promise. If the Israelites would obey God, they would be God's special people. What happened next? The Lord said to Moses, "I will come to you in a thick cloud, and let the people hear me speak to you. Go back and tell them they must get themselves ready to meet me. They must wash their clothes and be ready by the day after tomorrow, when I will come down to Mount Sinai, where all of them can see me. Warn the people they're forbidden to touch any part of the mountain. Anyone who does will be put to death. You may go up the mountain only after a signal is given on the trumpet." God is special in a way that human beings aren't. He's holy. That means he's separate and different. The Israelites had to be the best they could for him. You may have never thought about what God is like. He knows all about every one of us. He is always present. He can do what he chooses. On the morning of the third day, there was thunder and lightning. A thick cloud covered the mountain. A loud trumpet blast was heard, and everyone trembled with fear. Moses led them out of the camp to meet God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. It was covered with smoke, because the Lord had come down in a flaming fire. Smoke poured from the mountain, and the whole mountain shook. The trumpet blew louder and louder. Everyone was careful to obey and stayed at the bottom of the mountain. The people knew that God's words had great power and were prepared to obey him. God's words should be listened to and obeyed. Despite all that was going on around the mountain, Moses had to climb it in thick darkness. The rest of the people kept back. They could not approach God just any way they pleased. The people understood God was awesome when they saw these terrible things, but Moses assured them that God was going to teach them to live in the way that pleased him. Are we prepared to listen and obey God? God is the same today as he was then. He is holy, and you should be careful about how you speak to him. He is powerful, but his words teach you how you can live to please him.